Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you're actually seen on camera. That's right. We happen to have Marcel Dore, but this is Transformation Thursday specifically, which means you're going to find out his tips on transformation. And you're even seeing the clock ticking beside my head. And that is because I'm staying honest to my commitment to you guys. We're going to run it 15 minutes, but just so you know, anything you want Marcel to step further into, you got to leave comments today because we'll get him back for more things. So, Marcel, I cannot thank you enough for taking your time. And you do transformations as a fast track coach in the medical field, all of it. Can you head a direction for us? How you feel people can find their way?
Oh, well, thanks for inviting me back, Pam. It's a pleasure to be here. And by the way, congratulations. You got 2.2 or 2,200 subscribers in this group so quickly. It's amazing and still growing. So fantastic. Excellent work. You're really helping a lot of people out there. And for those of you who are in the group, yeah, bring a friend in for sure. That's how I build my classes. I always tell them, bring a friend into the next class. So that's one way to grow, and word of mouth is just fantastic. Yeah, Transformation Thursday, it made me think about a few things in terms of not just my own transformation, but the work I have done as a physician, as a fast track coach, as a DDPY instructor. And it all blends in, and you can sort of see that in my website name. It's called Transition Coach. And I've done a lot of work in medical education, and the way to transition from point A to point B is to recognize a gap, right? So the gap is what motivates you to do something new, to do something different, to put the work in. And so recognizing that gap is first of all an excellent way to sort of say, I don't want to be here, I want to be here. Wherever that gap is, you don't want to choose a gap that's way too big because then you just get discouraged. You want to choose a gap that's achievable. And of course, we see that in the SmackDown goals, right? It has to be achievable. It has to be realistic, fit into your life. So that's part of the process. I find over time, whether it be medical counseling, whether it be fast track coaching, whether it be helping people out and teaching a class, well, the biggest thing, and I did put this on one of the posts this week because somebody asked me that question, which component or which element of DDPY fitness has made the most impact on my life? I think my life, I took it as a general thing on anyone's life, frankly, and gathering experiences from all those areas in which I work, I thought the big thing is the mindset. And it's the mindset that really brings it together. Yesterday, I was just telling someone that the thing I am most proud of in my own transformation is not the fact that I lost 50 pounds, that I've kept it off, for 10 years. It's not the fact that I cured my back pain and sciatica, like 95% gone, diabetes, high blood pressure. But the biggest thing I'm most proud of is actually the consistency that I've been able to actually keep over time. We're talking 10 years, right? And that for me is like, wow. In fact, I saw a younger person in his 30s yesterday, and he's doing that same kind of process with himself. And I said, Sebastian is his name. I said, Sebastian, I'm kind of like happy for me and not so happy for you because you're like 35 and you have to keep this up for the rest of your life. And you got so many more years to keep it up. Meanwhile, I have less years to live, so I don't have to keep it up for that long. And the reason I say that is because, as everyone knows, it takes effort, discipline, work to sort of keep that path going, right?
Yes.
And it's not to say that I've been perfect for 10 years. Absolutely not. My weight has gone up and down. I've managed to keep it between 230 and 245 over the years, but I haven't let it balloon up to 280, 290 at any point in time. So keeping it consistent to sort of stay within there is the trick or the art, I would say, of being successful in this regard. And the mindset is to get started initially because the app gives you the workouts. The app gives you the meal plan if you wish.
Yes.
The third part is, okay, now I got to do it. And that's where the mindset comes in. And the challenging part, especially with a recent fast track coaching, is people know what to do. If you've coached them for a few weeks, if I've talked to them in the office for a few weeks, they know what they need to do, right? But it's like doing it. So it always has to come back to looking back as to why you're doing it.
Yes.
Who is it? And the big question I always ask people, who's in charge of making those decisions in your life? You've decided to implement the exercise, you've decided to implement the eating lifestyle. And then when you don't, who's in charge? Right? And so if you accept and make the decision to move forward with this, you make the decision and say, hey, I'm in charge. I'm going to be in charge of what I eat, how often I exercise, how often I get out there, do a walk. It doesn't have to be solely DDPY, but moving and
Yes.
getting more active. Then you've made the decision, but that's a tough decision because you've also accepted the responsibility to do it,
Yeah.
right? The beauty of responsibility is you own all the successes.
Yes.
The sad part of responsibility is you also own all the
All the-
falls and the failures and having to get back up. So I look at that and I think over the years that's the consistency is really the biggest key. And the hardest part of it is actually the mindset. So starting with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree 100%, Marcel. And um, if people knew that consistency was their only real battle, we wouldn't put forth these efforts that are just so unrealistic with a goal. And what I see as well, Marcel, is people looking left to right. Well, look at what he's doing or she's doing. I better do more. Well, he or she might have a totally different path that they're on and a different level of physical fitness, right? So, especially
Yep.
at 55 plus, looking left to right cannot be a big advantage, um, especially if you've got any kind of injuries, back, knees, shoulders, and now you're comparing yourself to someone else. You could easily get defeated.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good point because, and I do see some wonderful posts in this group,
Oh,
people who are not looking sideways, but just looking straight ahead. And
yeah,
some people have done very well. And I think that is, you're absolutely right. That's one of the key elements is to delineate your path, make your path and walk your path, right? And not compare left to right and center. And it's something we all have to do. And part of it is recognizing where that comfort zone is. And someone in our group just mentioned something about comfort zone and working to that comfort zone and then just past that. And
yes,
that's the challenge, right? So this is the challenge, and people look for motivation. The challenge gives you that motivation as long as that challenge is not like a huge gap.
yeah,
So if you can sort of set some challenges for yourself, no matter what level, I've been doing DDPY for more than 10 years now and teaching for a while, and I have some new challenges for myself right now. One of them is weight, actually, because I've been between 230 and 240 for many years. And I can do all kinds of stuff on the exercise and stuff. But he's like, I don't have to be this heavy. And I'm very fit at this size. But I say, let's get down to below 220, maybe even 200. And I haven't been 220 in 30 years. And I say, okay, there's a good challenge. I need to work on my flexibility. As I got stronger, I have to work on my flexibility now. And I've got a bum knee that I totally messed up about 6 weeks ago. And I got to work through that. So none of that's going to stop me from achieving some challenges and going. And also patience, right? It takes patience, but persistence. So
yeah,
as long as you're moving in the right direction, and if you happen to fall, get back up and get back on that train. I
yeah.
think it's the whole concept of that.
Well, and I'm going to post to today as well under here. So you now have two workouts that are in the app, right? That just
Yes.
you guys you need to go. Even if they're modifying based on whatever their challenges are at the time, they need to go and check out your workouts. So I'm going to put those there for sure. And you also gave me, Marcel, for those of you that have an interest in what just took place, Transformation Summit that just took place. Marcel was kind enough to give me some photos, and I'm going to place those below here as well for those of you that want to know. But Marcel, what would you say if someone has an interest in understanding what Transformation Summit is actually about? What would you say is your perspective of that? Because you've been to
Well,
many,
this
right?
I've been to four. This is my fourth one, and I got invited initially because I was a level one instructor So all the instructors get invited, and then people who have been able to expose their transformations in a very visual way, like on Facebook and the groups, and talk about their transformations, they often get invited to go as well. It is by invitation. And it ties right into what we were talking about, because you'll see in many of the people in the pictures, these are people who've been there and doing it for a long time. I like going as well because I see some people who've been there since 2015, 2016, that started and got certified as instructors, like as long as I have. In fact, one fellow, Travis Roberts, was there. He preceded me in terms of being an instructor, and he was the one we were looking towards to learn from to become instructors. And then I love looking at the people who have been invited, who are current transformations in the last 2 or 3 years, and getting to know them, I think, is the biggest thing. And the key parts that I really love to listen to is, it doesn't matter where you are here today, because you could be anywhere on that up and down,
Yes.
right? And some people are more on the downside, some people are on the upside. They go to summit, they get really motivated, and they start climbing up that hill again. And
Yes.
that just highlights the fact that everyone goes up and down. But to keep going and to keep striving is really important. So I listen to the stories and many of those faces you hear. And I try to focus on one thing during this summit, because there's 150 people there. And it's so easy to get distracted. Hi, hi, hi. And you're looking left, right, and center and saying hi to everybody and hugging and whatever. So I said, Marcel, this time I said, I want to focus on a few people. So I really spoke more in depth to a few people rather than a quick superficial hello to 150 people. So I hope I didn't leave anybody out. But the pleasure was listening to those stories and listening to, no matter where they were on their ups and downs, that they felt that they were going to Summit because they wanted to be there, because this is their community. That's where they get support. That's where they get motivation. And the whole concept of not being judged, being compassionately looked at. There are people who've gone through some very hard times, over the last few years. And so when you get there and your community, your family, your DDPY family just takes you in, gives you a big hug. It doesn't matter where you are on the ups and downs, that you feel like you're in the right place. And I think that's reflected in the DDPY for seniors group. It's reflected in DDP yoga, the large group. And that's the whole idea, right? Is to say, no matter where you are, whether it be on the up or on the down, stay in there, stick with it, keep going at it, keep getting on the mat, keep trying to eat as healthy as possible, and just follow that path. And then gradually, you say, wow, that felt good, that felt good. And that's the whole thing it is about Summit. It's just a microcosm of what's happening in the larger community.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy going, especially hearing in depth some of those stories are fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and even as we get near closing, I like to remind people, sure, that was by invitation only, but all the rest of the year, once a month, when they have those on a Tuesday night at the Performance Center in Atlanta, which you have been there as an instructor, Tag Team Dallas on a night, and I'm sure they'll have
Yeah.
you back again, right, to do that. Those are, I always post it immediately here for people to know, and they can get registered right away. And I mean,
Yeah.
isn't it just going there in itself too that is part of the wow factor?
Yeah.
Just,
It's amazing.
yeah,
Amazing. And even going to an instructor's class somewhere near you, if you can
yes,
have one somewhere near you, even if it's an hour or two drive sometimes, that
yes.
is so motivating and it really helps pick you up.
Yeah, I'm going to put the instructor link below here today again too. So click on that. They go over, they put their zip code in. They're going to see an instructor in their area. They're all around the world, actually, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're currently, did you tell me before we began, are you currently doing 6 or 7, no, five classes a week? Did you say
But
instructor?
during the summer, I only do 4 a week plus my own workouts at home. During the year,
Oh,
6 or 7 classes a week. Yeah, we've had a crowd here for a long time.
Marcel, you are always an inspiration. I so want to have you back. Matter of fact, leave comments, you guys, what you'd like to hear from Marcel, what topic, because there's so many ways you could go, Marcel, with your wisdom. But
Yeah, ask me anything.
I thank you so much, and we will have you back again to answer whatever stories. we're going to hit the 15-minute mark like I promised, which is so hard, Marcel. You know this is hard, right?
Check out my workout on the app because especially the 1 hour one, I really tried to show the modifications to make it easier. Leave your ego at the door though.
Good for you. Love you tons, Marcel. Thank you so much.